Let's go.
We are a company that farms rooftops, we host programming and events, and we design, build, and maintain urban green spaces for clients all across New York City. We started this business 14 years ago. I was young and idealistic, and I think we were riding high off the 2008 election energy, that si se puede feeling that swept across this country, but also very much influenced by the style of entrepreneurship coming out of Silicon Valley, this sort of pursuit of growth and scale at all costs, this disruptor zeitgeist that really has nothing to do with food production or urban agriculture. Because that was very much the culture at the moment, this business really was rooted in this idea of growing and selling as much food as possible, valuing the space by its per square foot revenue, the amount of revenue this space could yield per square foot. Over 14 years, we've really changed the way that we look at this business and how we value what we do. New York City, like most older cities, has a combined sewer system, and we have a combined sewage overflow crisis. In 2024, all it takes is 20 minutes of light rain for our sewer systems to be overwhelmed and for us to vent raw, untreated wastewater directly into our local waterways. This is a marine ecosystem crisis. It's also a human health crisis. So we really need to be building a sponge city that can meaningfully retain stormwater and drain it out slowly. So our sewer system has time to catch up with what's falling on the impervious surface that covers this vastly sprawling area that is New York. Green roofs are designed to do just that. Today, Brooklyn Grange has all but dismantled the thriving wholesale business that on its face was profitable, growing vast quantities of high-value foods, mostly salad greens, edible flowers, things you might put on a plate with tweezers, and sending them across the river to Manhattan, where they were sold to the highest bidding Michelin star chef. Today, the vast majority of our food is distributed below market rate to community-based organizations through relationships with private funders, government grants, and other creative means of making sure that this food ends up on the plates of families in the neighborhood. We struggle with the economics of this model, but frankly, we struggled with the economics of the old model in different ways. We externalized costs left and right. And the reality is, farming in a city, particularly New York, but really any city where the cost of living is high, which is most cities, you are going to run into this friction. How to pay a living wage for labor that produces what I have personally come to believe as an individual should be a commons. Food is one of the very few things that we absolutely need to survive. When we sell it and put this value on it in a capitalist system, the economics of doing that lays bare the absurdity of doing it in a space like this. This is by far the least efficient way to grow food. We have no tractors, no mechanization. Everything is done by hand, which means incredibly high labor costs in a city where the cost of living is really astronomical. To value the yield of this business as dollars per square foot is a logical fallacy. These days, the economic drivers of this business are our events program. We host weddings and other types of events here multiple times a week, and our design build arm. We design, build, and maintain green spaces for clients from residential homeowners to commercial real estate developments all across New York City. And these two arms of our business are not only the profitable arms, but they really are honing in on the value that we're able to provide, which is creating green space in a city that sorely needs it and creating connections to that green space. We're growing food that's not only nutritionally valuable, but it's culturally relevant. Becoming a part of a community and its food system really requires a level of direct communication with the members of that community. That often means prioritizing language justice, offering programming in translation, or in the native language of the community members. Often that will mean, taking the time to forge bonds with the community stakeholders who can program your space in a way that's relevant. At our Navy Yard farm, we just get a tremendous amount of demand for yoga. This neighborhood is not a yoga neighborhood. We knew that coming in here. It took several years before we earned the trust of Sunset Park residents to share with us what they really wanted to do in this space. Because at the end of the day, urban dwellers don't really know how to feel ownership of a farmed space. When we first began growing for the largely Chinese American community of Sunset Park, we were distributing these little bunches of chives that were appropriate as a garnish. And I'll never forget the laughter of this grandmother who said, "What am I supposed to do with this bunch of chives? I need 10 of these to make one batch of dumplings." We need urban farms to be more than just food producers. If you are growing food in a city, I believe that you have the obligation to engage your community with that process in a meaningful way, on their terms. Because I want to make the point that urban farming is often so much more about the urban than it is about the farming. And that truth is the driving force behind the evolution of this business over the last decade and a half. I feel so lucky, so fortunate that this is where I get to spend my days. That is a luxury that should be afforded more New Yorkers, particularly young urbanites who are going to be building cities of the future. I really feel the adage is true that transition is inevitable, justice is not. Cities are changing. Our climate is changed. We need to be building more resilient cities today so that people living in them tomorrow have any chance at a life worth living. As a New Yorker, it's so easy to remove yourself from the environment, from what's happening around the world, because this city is a world unto itself. Spending time on this roof, seeing the migratory pollinators, seeing how the intensifying heat and storms affect the crops has really opened my eyes to the global citizenship and the fact that this work of creating a more climate resilient world is the greatest honor with which humankind will ever be faced. I feel we all should be doing everything we can And I'm proud of what we've done here at Brooklyn Grange, just a small drop in an ocean towards a more climate resilient New York City.